Pyros or Fire-type monsters, Fire attribute.
Aren't they all psychics?
I'll get there.
Well, the main deck monsters psychics, and the extra deck monsters.
But I mean, Rysart is a warrior.
Yep.
Oh.
And he's also Fire attribute.
At least that. I will give you that, of course. And we are starting it off with the one-off, with the terraforming to catch the also powerful field spell, the Pressure Planet
That is
Brace-Off.
a beautiful terraforming.
Oh, yeah, it is.
And it terrors really well.
It does. It does. It probably makes much nicer gardens or whatever you're turning into your planet, into than the other field spells.
And we haven't. Did we pick up something from the terraforming?
Have we missed the field spell part of the adding the unicorn?
Did Patrick just immediately search for unicorn?
Just one step ahead of himself. Or maybe he just had the unicorn in his hand
that is
already.
Possible. I haven't seen the.
But why would you give that information away first then? That seems kind of odd to me.
Yeah, I'm a bit confused by that. It did seem like if you already have the unicorn, it might be nice to play the unicorn first, and that way you play around draw a bit better.
Exactly, that's what I was thinking, for sure. But there's also a possibility that Patrick knows what he's up against, because Giuseppe probably wasn't too happy about the loss of the die roll, because he is on the trap deck of the format. He is on Labrynth, and therefore going second here is not going to be the best situation for him ever.
There we have the field spell.
There we do.
There it is.
I mean, to me, like, Kashtira is quite good going first, and is also quite good at going second compared to a lot of other decks.
Certainly is.
Labrynth, I feel like, is a lot better if it goes first.
Yep.
So you're always upset to lose the dice roll if you're playing Labrynth.
So there comes Kashtira Birth.
Oh! That is huge.
Oh yeah, allowing us to normal summon the Ogre, and Ogre will be able to catch us Kashtira preparations from our deck. There it is. And of course, this is a good card in the grind game to special summon out Kashtira monsters from your banished pile, but also it has an additional effect, as all the Kashtira cards do have. So on the result of the activation on the effect of a trap card, note that because we're playing with Labrynth, and there's going to be a lot of trap cards, you could just look at the opponent's hand and banish one card from it face down.
So quite a conservative opening turn for Patrick there. He had a lot of Kashtira cards going. You can see he's not used the special summon effect of Birth. He could possibly have extended a lot more, but has decided to go for the more cautious approach.
Yeah, but Labrynth players used to play Lava Golem or Ra Sphere mode, and this is a really good approach to counter that deck choice. I don't know if there are any in Giuseppe's deck. Maybe not.
Not really, no. That's true.
I think Lava Golem, it doesn't matter. If you do like sort of full combo against Lava Golem, your opponent has to sort of make a choice because you've got enough monsters that I think Sphere mode would be really bad against sort of full combo, zone lock kind of style.
But I mean, that's a bold approach by Giuseppe, because he's actually not having any answers to the full zone lock in his main deck at all. That is really, really interesting of a decision. But we now see the Pot of Prosperity for 6, and that's such a good interaction with the Rysart already face up on the field, because that will mean we can attach one of those face-down cards that have been banished from our extra deck by Prosperity, and I would assume that's either going to be one of the Elder Entity Antis, or it's going to be...
Oh, Infinitrack Goliath.
Of course,
or
Goliath. Oh, was it? Yeah,
no,
did I
this
miss
is
that?
Infinitrack Fortress.
Yeah,
okay, but Garura is also an option. He's actually playing 2 copies of it. No, he's playing 1.
No, I was actually looking at the Labrynth list in that moment. But yeah, both of them are playing Antis, and it makes sense that Giuseppe is playing more of that than Patrick is. But he is also playing all 3 options. He's playing the Antis, he's playing the Garura, and the Goliath too. And look, that's very heads up by Patrick, because sometimes people will have the preparations set down for a while, but versus a trap deck, why not activate it immediately to get value out of that second effect?
I'm interested in that, because if your opponent has impermanence, they could just chain it anyway, so you wouldn't then get to use the effect of preparations. And if your opponent has evenly matched, you're also not going to be able to resolve the effect of preparations. So what do you think that the point of that is?
I mean, just get it out. Let's just let's have it on the field.
I was just thinking, against something like Runic Destruction, you don't want to show which one the preparations is, because your opponent has more information about what to target.
Why would you not get the effect when you activate when the opponent activates evenly matched?
Because preparations has to be resolved by the time the other trap card activates.
And there still needs to be a Kashtira monster on the field, yeah.
Oh, so evenly matched, yeah. So you'd either not have a Kashtira monster or you wouldn't have a preparations.
I mean, the Kashtira monster will come from the preparations at some point.
But if evenly matched resolves, then you only have 1 card, and it can't be a Kashtira monster and a preparation.
Yeah, yeah. After evenly matched, there's only going to be 1 card left.
I understand.
So look at that. We have duality, and we are revealing double Pot of Prosperity and Terrors from the Underroot. And we are picking the Prosperity to try again getting a good card from our deck here.
And the Rysart is just going to attach all of those good cards.
Yeah, it gets so much fuel in situations like this when your opponent goes duality, prosperity. and once Patrick's used Prosperity, he's now got all of these targets in his extra deck to sort of, it's not like equipping, but it almost feels like equipping. You know, it's powering up the Rise Heart with extra powers.
And shall I tell you something? I have found out why Patrick Hoffmann did not even consider to go into the zone lock combo. There's a very easy explanation, because he's actually only running one Kashtira Shangri Era and therefore cannot even go for the full zone lock, which is a very interesting decision there in his extra deck.
Yeah, that's very committal, because I feel like it's nice to have that as your plan A, is to activate a Rise Heart and play around Nibiru. But some hands, if you just draw like a pile of Kashtira cards and no other defensive cards, then it feels quite weak perhaps just to end on a Rise Heart.
True, true. Absolutely. So we did pick up the skill drain there with the Pot of Prosperity. So probably the plan here is going to be to set as many cards as possible and then hope that the Rise Heart is not going to hit the skill drain in the end phase.
Do we think Patrick's going for a record of most materials on an XYZ monster in a feature match?
Oh, in a featured match, okay, because
Not
if he's for the overall record, I think he's still far behind, because I've seen some big Rise Hearts lately.
But this on the stream, I think this is quite impressive.
Yeah, for sure. So we're definitely not going to detach the materials that we attached from the extra deck. So no Goliath, no Garura, no Antis. And I mean, the Goliath in this matchup is really good because it's it makes it available. It makes it good versus the. Oh, we're not going to see whether it was good run. Yeah, I was about to mention the Dogmatic Punishment.
I was running through the traps in my head. I was like, doesn't work against compulsory. It doesn't work against terrors, but it does work very well against Dogmatic Punishment,
which is a free of in the deck of Giuseppe here.
And having one extra way to not be destroyed could make all the difference.
Dogmatic Punishment is such an insane trap card. It's basically able to destroy 2 monsters most of the time if you're sending Antis. However, the downside is that you're actually playing into the triple tactic cards most of the time.
Yeah, and look at that now. Kashtira Preparations is a threat already due to that second effect versus trap cards. But now we can also, of course, after banishing Bifenrir, get it back with the preparation. So the grind game is so good. He's in a really good spot here, Patrick is in the driver's seat, I want to say.
We could see quite a niche interaction going on between the preparations and the Lord of the Heavenly Prison in Giuseppe's hand. If you think about what's going to happen if Giuseppe uses a trap card, then Patrick would have to activate his trigger effect first as turn player.
Yeah,
and
true.
Then,
Absolutely.
And then the Heavenly Prison be chained.
So there comes big welcome Labrynth. And we have Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring on top of all of that. Patrick really with a strong hand here. Having an additional card to interact with his opponent, that is so huge.
He actually added this card off of Pot of Prosperity after his combo in the first turn.
You're right. That was known.
That is something that Giuseppe should be prepared for.
It's a really nice feeling to have have your Kashtira set up and then activate Pot of Prosperity to search for some interaction with your opponent.
So we are going to search for the Kashtira Unicorn.
Always a good one.
Yeah, and I mean, there's still Kashtira Birth on the field. That means we will be able to just normal summon that out.
So interestingly, neither player electing to use any of their sort of trap trigger effects, right? Because Giuseppe could have used Lord of the Heavenly Prison. Patrick could have used Kashtira Preparations, right?
Oh, I think you should have just used Kashtira Preparations, because that would have been an easy one. But wait, we still did resolve that chain. So I think, yeah, now would be the trigger timing for Kashtira Preparations.
Well, yeah, technically he's already resolved everything, right? Because once you attach, that would always be chain link 1. But, I mean, you could sort of do a shortcut and attach it as you say you're activating.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
There's sort of very technically, you have to, that's always going to be the last thing to happen.
So we are searching now for Kashtira Theosis.
And Patrick knows about the skill drain face down. He doesn't know if he's already banished it.
True.
An interesting thing he could do, actually, is just attach the trap that he banished, just to see what it is.
That is actually a very good point.
Yeah.
This is something you should do.
Honestly, some people don't really pay attention to that, because you really have to be aware which card is banished where. And you got to tell at every point what is the card we just banished, when was banished what, and therefore you got to really pay attention to that. And that is definitely, hopefully, something Patrick is doing.
Yeah, if you attach the wrong card, you might put something in your opponent's graveyard that they want there. And
there comes Theosis onto the Unicorn. I think Scarecrow Kashtira could be a card we're summoning out here.
Yeah, I mean, you have to summon it in defense position, but we're going for the Rise Heart, the little one. And I don't think that there is a target for Theosis to add.
I was thinking about that myself. You might be right. I can't see any face up, but there have been a lot banished throughout the course of the game.
I think there could still be one, to be honest. Because he banished 3 with a Rise Heart earlier on.
But I mean, he attached those.
Yeah, okay,
he's been attaching things, summoning them with preparation, summoning them with birth.
Fair enough, yeah. But now we are banishing again with the Rise Heart.
And we are banishing a Fenrir as well, banishing 3 cards face down from the opposing side. So Arisat is going to attach more and more and more cards.
And the more it attaches, it does become a lot more threatening. And if you make a Zeus with it, that's a lot of fun. I mean, he probably won't in this matchup, but it's so much fun to have a Zeus with like 12 triggers.
Oh, we are attaching a Zeus.
We're attaching a Zeus. That's the wrong way around. Patrick is with the Zina.
That is a pretty funny interaction.
Hey, he
there.
just showed his opponent that he doesn't have access to Zeus anymore. I mean, that is kind of valuable information, but I guess at this point, Patrick doesn't really want to go for a Zeus anymore.
Shall I tell you something? The extra deck of Patrick has many surprises, as he's actually on 3 copies of Zeus, and therefore still has access to that.
I was going to say, I would assume it's kind of normal to run at least 2 copies, because if it's really important going
But
second.
3 is very special. I haven't seen 3, to be honest.
I agree.
But I think this is... Oh, okay, we're attacking with the Unicorn, so that is, again, banishing something.
I think...
Oh, no, yeah, now we're attacking with the Fenrir
Giuseppe's going
again.
to have to respond to this attack, right? Because otherwise Patrick does have... He is representing 8,000 damage.
Skill drain. Do we even... I mean, you kind of want to chain to that, right? The question is, do you chain to the other face-down card, or you try to chain to the skill drain?
You know what's kind of funny? You don't really need to chain, because there is Enters underneath your...
that is true.
Arisat, so you could actually trigger the Enters by using the effect after the skill drain is resolved.
That's also possible.
But I think we are just chaining right here, right now. But do we go after the skill drain, or do we go after the other card, maybe? We do go after the skill drain.
I like going after the skill drain, yeah, just as a sort of insurance. If the game goes longer, the skill drain is going to cause a lot of problems.
So we are debating on if the attack was declared already?
No, I think the attack was declared. I think they're just... So that thing I mentioned earlier about preparations and Lord of the Heavenly Prison and ordering the chain links. So by my understanding, preparation should have to be chain link 1 because Patrick's the turn player.
Or chain link 2 because of the Arisat, but
chain link 2
sure.
after the Arisat, and then chain link 3 will be the Lord of the Heavenly Prison, which will be in play before it could be banished by the preparations.
So we are setting Trap Trick, but that is not a card we can use this turn. So, and now unresolved, I would think that Kashtira Fenrir will activate its effect to ban.
Banish the Ariana.
Banished the Ariana already.
Oh.
So we actually prevented the OTK here on Giuseppe's side. So I wonder if there was something that Patrick could have done that could have prevented the OTK, but I don't think so, because the Lord of the Heavenly Prison is pretty big.
Yeah, prevented the preventing of the OTK. He can still attack over the Lord of the Heavenly Prison because his Arise Heart is being boosted by the Pressured Planet.
Yeah, it is. And I mean, we also haven't used the special summon effect of Kashtira Preparations yet. So we could get another monster onto one. And there is enemy control as well. That is pretty strong in that situation too.
So
and now we're packing up Patrick Hoffman with the enemy control package for this event.
How many copies?
I mean, 2 or 3, and then at least 1 talent.
I love it going second, and I hate it going first. So I suppose if it's in your side deck as a going second card, I'm all for it. Otherwise, I'm not sure how I'd feel about having it in my main deck going first. What?
I'm making a bold call right now. I'm saying it will be in the winning list of today.
Okay.
That's my prediction for today.
Oh,
and there's immediately Imperial Iron Wall. The one-off has just been drawn, and it's also not only preventing the Kashtira cards from going off, but also powerful, evenly matched.
Yeah, very powerful. And I think you activate it right now, possibly in the draw phase or the standby phase, to prevent your opponent activating Pot of Prosperity as well.
Or normal summon Denko Sekka.
Or normal summon Denko Sekka.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it doesn't prevent normal summon Denko Sekka, but you at least have the consolation prize of an Imperial Iron Wall. Which might not be enough of a consolation prize if you can't use your other 3 cards.
And it just makes sense to just block out the Pot of Prosperity as well, because if that one finds a Harpy's Feather Duster or a Lightning Storm, then you're going to be in a lot of trouble.
Exactly.
He actually catched the Kashtira Ogre there to his hand, and there is the special summon of Unicorn. And do we immediately do something against that?
Unicorn is so far not answered by anything. We are still contemplating maybe a Welcome Labrynth. Yep, there we go. Welcome Labrynth is being activated, going to special summon out a lady of a castle.
One of the ladies.
Which one?
You've got a few choices.
Is he going for?
It looks like he's just put his hands over Lovely Lady, but has chosen instead for...
it's actually just Lovely Labrynth of the Silver Castle,
just Lovely
not
Labrynth.
even Lovely Lady.
It's just it's a lovely labyrinth. Okay. The labyrinth is the lovely... or maybe her name is Lovely.
And I mean, they're all ladies, so it still adds up. The story still makes sense. But I think after having that on the field, we are allowing the search effect of Kashtira Unicorn, and that gives us Kashtira Birth.
Birth is a decent card.
I will agree on that.
Especially in a grindy matchup like this one, the ability, it's just a threat every turn. It's like an extended this turn, and then next turn you can use it again if your opponent doesn't answer it, which is really useful.
It certainly is. So I don't know whether Patrick's chances are that great when he's not finding one of those powerful field-breaking cards, right? Because Triple Tactics Thrust into something like the good old Feather Duster would have been really, really powerful here. And without that, I think it's going to be rough.
Well, keep in mind, he could still have the Thrust or the Talents in his hand. Because...
Ooh, and that's a card that has not been that popular anymore lately. There can be only one.
And now, as Leo pointed out,
there is
the Rise Heart, which is a warrior.
Yeah, the problem is Rise Heart can't get to level 7.
No, Rise Heart's not going to be very useful, but you can summon it as a consolation prize.
But wait, you have to, don't you?
Yeah,
when you activate Theosis.
I agree. Maybe he has... How many copies is he running? Do we know?
He's running in the main deck. It would be 2. That would be a card you could potentially side out, of course.
So he might have the only remaining copy in his hand.
That could be a thing.
Or is he still
he's okay. There's Theosis now, so probably there's going to be something we have to summon out here.
Maybe a judge just pointing out that you have to resolve it if you possibly can.
Yep. Okay, and looks like there is something we can summon out. Probably the Rise Art we were just talking about.
But I think all the other Kashtira Psychics, it's possible, it's forgivable to sort of forget. I mean, I didn't know until Leo pointed it out that the Rise Heart is in fact a warrior.
And I think I would have forgotten as well, but at the start you were actually running Reinforcement of the Army.
I was thinking of that, yeah, as I mentioned. I was like, I should probably have known that because I have seen people include Reinforcement of the Army in Kashtira.
All right, so, but as you said, that is not going to help us here really. Normally, Donna would be a card we could go into, but we already resolved Kashtira Theosis, and therefore there's no more Link summoning happening this turn.
This is very tricky because if Patrick did side in those Triple Tactics cards, there's no way really to force Giuseppe to use a monster effect this turn.
And that's why it is Giuseppe's turn again.
Okay, so we're attacking over the Unicorn, which I find quite interesting. Because that opens up another Psychic monster on the field, and you could very well go for a Fenrir, which can't use the effect anyway because there is an Imperial Iron Wall. So
yeah.
I want to say, if you are in a situation, I mean, the game is not over by far yet, and Patrick is still really healthy considering his life points, but if you're ever in such a lock, if you're ever in the tight grip of 2 Floodgates and in-engine of Labrynth, it's hard to get out.
I agree. Do we think this is maybe another welcome Labrynth he has face down? Because he's sort of... He's got his hands on it now. He's thinking about activating it. It would make sense because you couldn't activate it last turn if it was.
Can you activate
it
it
also
now?
not activate it here because you already have a
you're right.
on the field.
That is totally correct. None of them are not fiends, right? They're all fiends.
Yeah, that's what I just looked up as well. So I think that is the reason why normally you don't really see there can be only one in the Labrynth deck, and usually you're seeing Gozen Match rather. But he has decided to also run that.
Maybe Giuseppe feels like just one Labrynth in play is enough.
And we get the Dogmatica punishment now.
From the Silver Castle monster.
I'm glad he didn't use Trap Trick like last game that he searched for. Because he wouldn't be able to activate that under Imperial Iron Wall.
That is indeed true. So, does Patrick find answers here?
Got to find something that's not evenly matched, not any of the Triple Tactics card, because I think Giuseppe's not going to give him the ability to use those because he's probably not going to use any monster effects.
I find it really funny that he just set the monster with his trap card because now Lightning Storm would have been active.
There's still a field spell, my
the
friend.
Field spell.
I completely forgot about that.
But yeah, I mean, still, we got rid of a Rise Heart and gave our opponent a Unicorn, which can now search for another spell. Are any of those spells really doing something, though?
I'm interested in this order, because, I mean, it's a bit weird, because normally you want to attack the monster that you don't want in play, but he could have done this another way around and attacked the Rise Heart first and then swapped the Unicorn for the Rise Heart.
Exactly.
And then Patrick would only have had a Rise Heart and not been able to search out again with the Unicorn.
There is another field spell, the Race Off. So potentially there would have been a possible Lightning Storm coming down because he had the field spell to set over his Race Off.
That would have been really
very
cool.
cool.
Would have been cool indeed. So we are searching for another Rise Art here.
A big hand of Kashtira cards is normally fine and very good at pushing through opponents' boards.
And now theoretically we could normal summon the Rise Art to then go into Donner, but that can only get rid of monsters.
We are special summoning the Rise Art, so I think now we're locked in Exceeds.
Yep, that is absolutely
Is that a
true.
special summon?
I'm not sure.
I mean, he revealed it, right?
No, it
I'm
was
impressed.
not.
You guys seem very confident in your ability to tell from people's hand motion whether
It was a normal summon as I thought.
I mean, he put it face down under the spell and face up under the spell and trap zone.
The thing is, Donner, if it could also go after back row, would be so much stronger. But Donner can actually only destroy monsters.
In fact, you can't even activate it in this situation because it can't even be targeted.
Oh, that is indeed true. So that Donner is not really something you want to have there on the field anymore. There's Kashtira Birth now. Also
There are
being
so many
activated.
for hire cards in this tournament.
It was one of the things when we were looking at what for hire decks were included when we were trying to find them, and then we realized almost every deck had a Donner in the extra deck.
and
So
look
we were
at
going to have
that.
to look a bit harder.
We are getting rid of that Donner with Dogmatica Punishment, but that's not the main purpose of this activation of Dogmatica Punishment. We are much rather sending the Entis to then get rid of that Kashtira Birth.
It's interesting here because he had been quite stingy with not activating any monster effects, but now he has activated a monster effect in his opponent's turn, which would allow Patrick to use any of the triple tactics cards that he's drawn.
Oh, yeah, right. Now there would be the potential Thrust coming down.
And that could add, for example, Harpy's Feather Duster.
You're right, and we know about all the back row, right? So
We're having Ogre, and Ogre is actually pretty big now, right?
Ogre should be on exactly 3,000 now, being boosted by 200 through the field spell.
Yeah.
And we're searching for preparations. So we weren't able to destroy the lovely lady with the Donner, but Ogre works just as well. And I mean, maybe Patrick even was a little bit happy here that Giuseppe used that punishment, so he had free room to special out the Ogre again. And he searched that Ogre in his opening turn, so that Ogre was very well known there in a sense.
I mean, but how much does this do now? Because we are pretty sure that Giuseppe will at some point have another welcome Labrynth card.
Yeah, there should be another one.
Oh,
there should already be one set. Ooh, that could be an impermanent. We are actively setting that card into the
There's another
same
one.
column. But okay, it wasn't very long without a lady there. There is the Lady Labyrinth of the Silver Castle again.
And the impermanence does have to target and negate an opponent's monster.
And you can't target
And
that
you
lady
can't target
still.
it, so it is a nice idea to try and put it in the same... I mean, if it is impermanence even, to try and put it in the same column as there can be only one. But unfortunately in this situation, Giuseppe doesn't even have a targetable monster.
Yeah,
I
that's
mean,
true.
we have seen Lorenzo earlier go for a game by activating impermanence on a monster that just didn't use the effect this turn, so maybe Patrick can pull something off. Maybe he can special summon another monster, another Mathmech card. I don't know.
Oh, it was the preparation that was set there, okay.
Interesting choice to put it in the column of the there can be only one then.
Well, I think it's nice to put it in a column that doesn't have a face-down card. It's kind of a good habit.
Oh yeah, that's good.
If you can put your traps in something where you know it's never going to be hit by impermanence. But in this case, I don't think it really mattered which
And also,
column you put
Patrick
it
doesn't even play impermanence, so
That's a good
there's
point.
no potential top deck of that.
in. Is this a special summon in his opponent's turn of the unicorn with preparations? Or
no,
you think
we're
he was
searching. I think we
he was just
summoned this
activating
out.
the preparations
Yeah.
just because.
Just because. Searching for birth. So there are a lot of cards now in the hand of Patrick, but none of them really do too much versus the field of Giuseppe.
I feel like this Imperial Iron Wall has put in so much
Yeah,
work this
for
game.
sure.
Like there would be so many cards banished by now, if not for the Imperial Iron Wall. And
Let me tell you, I have played versus this card with Kashtira, and it is so annoying.
And
It
the one
really
copy
stops
as
you in
well
its
being
tracks.
drawn.
Yes, yes.
Although having said that, Giuseppe does have multiple copies of Lord of the Heavenly Prison, which is able to search it. It is a continuous trap, so it can't be searched by the Lady Labyrinth, but it can be searched with Lord of the Heavenly Prison. And
yeah, the problem there would be it would go...
It wouldn't.
Okay. I see what you did there. I see what you did there, too.
Yeah, normally Lord of the Heavenly Prison would banish it, but if it's Imperial Iron Wall, then it says, you can't banish me.
Yeah, indeed. So, what's Patrick's approach here to this game? Is he going to be able to get more monsters onto the field? I mean, one very obvious solution here could also be Zeus, but how do we even get to Zeus here at that point?
I was thinking about that because the combination of Iron Wall and There Can Be Only One is the tricky part, because you cannot get your Rysart to level 7, and that is a big problem. I think at this moment we are just waiting until we are drawing into a Harpy's Feather Duster and possibly win off of that.
Probably, yeah.
We are seeing a downside if There Could Be Only One, because I think Giuseppe may have been able to put a lot more pressure on Patrick without it. It is slowing him down.
Agreed.
Now, as is, he is sort of gaining resources and gaining momentum, but there are very swingy cards in the game at the moment in the form of Harpy's Feather Duster. So giving your opponent more time is a significant downside.
For a second I thought it's Harpy's Feather Duster, but it was only the Kashtira Birth there. But I mean, Kashtira Birth buys us some time, because we can now turn over, special summon back the Unicorn.
Or Ogre.
Or Ogre even, true. And that is actually dealing with the attack that Giuseppe can do each turn.
Ogre can crash right here.
Yeah, also that, true.
And how good is the resource management? If you went through all the ladies, and now we're playing the terrors of the Overroot, and that is going to destroy the Kashtira Birth again. You cannot use the effect of Kashtira Preparations. Again, there is Imperial Iron Wall on the field, which is the biggest problem for Patrick right now. And we are going to set face down another Rysart or the Ogre.
He gives him the Ogre. I mean, it cannot be flipped up again this turn.
Was there a...
Yeah, all right.
So Giuseppe can't use the Lady while he has 5 cards in his spell and trap card zone. He probably doesn't want the Welcome Labyrinth out of his graveyard.
And I mean, he just doesn't want to activate the effect of the Lady. I think playing into Triple Tactics Thrust here would just be a huge mistake, because that's more top decks that Patrick can have at the moment if you also give him those.
I do love Terrors of the Overroot. It's so much fun.
Yeah, it's a really, really cool card. And that's just a pass there by Patrick. So he doesn't have another copy of Kashtira Birth, but he will get another turn, as Giuseppe can only attack for 3,000. I'm saying only. I mean, 3,000 is basically over 1/3 of the life points, and now Patrick is down to 1,500, but he will get another turn.
Last turn to draw the Duster. I can't think of any other card that will get him out of this situation.
I mean, you can also set an Effect Veiler probably, and there's barely an out for his opponent onto the Veiler in defense, because it cannot be Dogmatic punishmented. But yeah, we are just setting one more card, and I can't imagine which this one is going to be.
Do you think Patrick runs Effect Veiler still?
Maybe enemy controller to put that Lady into defense position.
I can't be targeted.
Oh, okay. We do use the effect of Scareclaw Kashtira. Oh no, we're not. Oh no, we cannot use the effect of Scareclaw Kashtira, of course, because of the Iron Wall, but we can special summon it out with the Kashtira Preparations in our opponent's battle phase.
Are we going to find the Harpy's Feather Duster before we are going to run out of life points on Patrick's side? He is looking at his hand. He is contemplating. What can I do next? Is there any way I don't lose? No! Hands of 5 have been drawn. We are looking at them for the first time now. Do we see anything in Patrick's face? Does he act like he doesn't have anything?
I think he's got a bit of a game face on.
He's a veteran of the game. He has a poker face here for this situation, of course.
So we're opening with the Fenrir, which is obviously not ideal. We want to start the combo with the Unicorn. However, if he has Birth as a backup, then it doesn't matter, because you can just search the Unicorn, activate Birth, normal summon the Unicorn, and then go for the Theosis to special summon out Ogre and add Preparations.
Look at that, Giuseppe is really considering whether to do something against that, and there is Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring. I mean,
you like this?
There's not when there's Theosis coming right after. Absolutely not.
It's a bit of a gamble, isn't it? Because you don't want to use it and have this happen, but you also don't want to just not use it until it's too late.
That's true.
The thing is, you could, like, the only card you really want to search for there is the Rysart, and then Fenrir plus Rysart on their own would only be Shangri-Ira, and Patrick would rely on having the Kashtira Birth in his hand already, and so in that situation, I don't think I would really Ash the Fenrir, to be honest.
Exactly. But the big punishment if you don't Ash the Fenrir is if Birth is in the hand, because then you can activate the Birth, search a Unicorn, activate Birth, and then normal summon the Unicorn.
I agree, I agree. There's ups and downsides to that, for sure.
I would have ashed the prosperity.
Yeah, that's an easy decision for sure.
That's for sure.
Because that can find so many good non-engine cards now as well. Because in the side deck of Patrick Hoffmann, there is Solemn Judgment, the also powerful counter trap from back in the day, still being popular in nowadays Yu-Gi-Oh! And is he going to find it here? The desires won't help, I can tell you that.
That's only 5 cards, Patrick. So
oh! That is also a beautiful looking card right there.
Are we preparing for a possible turn 3?
Or do we just take the Kashtira Birth because we needed to even get to our Rysart here?
But I mean, with what card do you want to combo Birth here? You don't. We don't know the hand of Patrick, so there are 2 more cards. Maybe you take the Birth if you have something else. I doubt that it's a Unicorn.
Probably,
it shouldn't be a Scareclaw Kashtira. It should also not be a Rysart because those
Ooh,
cards
it is
work without
Scareclaw
Birth.
Kashtira. So that means there is probably no more card to pair it up with, and he really needs that Scareclaw Kashtira to be summoned to the field and to get to a Rysart.
I won't lie to you guys. I would have taken the Harpy's Feather Duster and probably end on.
You'd end on this. You really want the Feather Duster.
I mean, the Feather Duster is insane.
Oh, unless it does lose out to Lord of the Heavenly Prison, but that is about it. I agree.
I would still think that my opponent is going to side out those.
So that is... Oh, and on the effect of Scareclaw Kashtira, that looked very desperate from Patrick, but he really needed to grab this. There is the Gamma from Giuseppe. So that is strong stuff. But, oh, I think that driver came right from his hand.
Oh. And we are banishing it face down.
He's also going to lose a card from his deck thanks to the Ogre, if
Yeah.
Patrick chooses to do so, which I think he's...
We have already...
That is a little late, though.
Yeah.
You've got to be careful not to get too excited and banish already with
I mean, to be
Fenrir.
fair, he just targeted and his opponent already just put the card face down. I think this is a fuel for a little discussion with the judges, but I think that they are easily going to handle the situation.
It's really nice in situations like this when there's a judge listening to the exact conversation that was said, when there's a sort of difference of agreement and communication between players.
At the end of the day, he wasn't able to activate the Ogre. And again, Leonard, I have a question for you, because you already pinpointed out that Gamma on your opponent's turn onto an Rysart is really strong. And couldn't we just have let our opponent go into the Rysart here and then have the Gamma for it?
If you don't have a spell to activate the Rysart, then it doesn't help you. However, you could use it probably in the end phase, I guess. They will try to snipe out one of your back row cards, right?
Absolutely.
Do you think Giuseppe might be afraid that the pot of... Because last game, the first card that Patrick attached from his extra deck to the Arise Heart after using Pot of Prosperity...
But then you can still use the Gamma on that effect to attach something. I mean...
Yeah, it was Goliath. So, yeah, it might be that he was worried about that, but I agree. This does seem
but
strange.
there's Imperial Iron Wall, so maybe that would be the card he's picking here. But, I mean, there was Ash Blossom, Gamma, and Driver in his opening hand, so he's not having that many cards here anymore. First of all, he turned them over to Patrick, but now he wants to have a look himself. What are we picking here? We have both Labrynth traps to choose from, but also, of course, that Imperial Iron Wall is looking pretty.
I think he already has one of the Welcome Labrynth cards in his hand. I think I've seen big Welcome Labrynth. We are looking for...
Oh, okay.
we are ruling
not this. Okay, it will be the Imperial Iron Wall here.
I mean, we know your opponent doesn't have the Harpy's Feather Duster.
That is true. That's a big information.
It's even... it's not on the bottom anymore. It was on the bottom from the Prosperity, but now it's shuffled into the deck somewhere because he's already shuffled his deck with Shangri-Ira.
Yeah, that is true.
Fun play from Giuseppe there. It does look a bit weird the way he's set, but as we mentioned before, he's playing around.
And there's, of course, the Kashtira preparations. Making sure to flip this in your end phase, where he cannot chain any trap cards yet. So now every activation of a trap card would potentially trigger the preparations.
However, there's no card in hand as well, so there's nothing you can...
Yeah, and also there is Imperial Iron Wall now. And there's Skill Drain as well, but only 7 minutes left on the clock, so this might be a costly Skill Drain here, because that brings Patrick ahead on life points here.
I think it's all going to come down to whatever the last set for Giuseppe is.
That Skill Drain can potentially be really important, because you could turn the Shangri-Ira in attack position, oh wow, that is really important.
Right there, that's even boosting our monsters more.
You can,
you can attempt to activate the effect of Shangri-Ira in the standby phase and then just destroy the Imperial Iron Wall or the Skill Drain.
Or you can turn, because you have actually activated the effect of Shangri-Ira, you can turn it into an Arise Heart as well if you want to. Lots of options for Patrick here.
That is true. So, there was the surge.
We can also put this in attack position. If the skill drain wasn't there, this could have been a rather easy Zeus play. Would, however, lose to a welcome Labrynth trap because you can just summon it in attack position. We are going for damage here.
Of course, there is the Arise art.
A skill drain sort of reduces Yu-Gi-Oh! To a bit of a mini-game of who can have the biggest monster in play, right? And this Arise Heart is very big. It's at 3,200.
Yeah, and it cannot be outed by any of the Welcome Labrynth cards because the monsters, they are just not big enough.
Yeah, exactly.
So that is a lot of damage, as we just said. 5.5 more minutes to go in this, and Giuseppe will have to come up with an answer very quickly here.
Also, if you have the big Welcome Labrynth to out the Arise Heart, you cannot use it because of your own Imperial Iron Wall. So this is just, how does Giuseppe get out of this? And Patrick is smiting a little bit.
Oh yeah, he likes this, he likes this. And there's, ooh. Still in battle phase, I would assume. We summon out that unicorn from our hand with Kashtira preparation, so that forces Giuseppe to use the Welcome Labrynth, bringing out the Lady Labrynth of the Silver Castle.
One thing I thought I might have seen in Patrick's extra deck was a Draco Sack, which might be there for explicitly this purpose.
Yeah. Oh,
I
yeah,
may have made up
absolutely.
that there was a Draco Sack in Patrick's
Well, let me
extra
just
deck.
quickly
Should we
check.
have a little look?
I have his extra deck, and there is indeed a Draco Sack. Yep, and that is usually
use
there.
Of 2 level 7s.
Yeah, that is usually there for exactly such cards such as Skill Drain or Imperial Iron Wall, so we might really see that.
The beauty of Draco Sack is that it contributes itself for the cost, which gets around Skill Drain. Skill Drain is one of those classic cards that a lot of people can play around.
Ooh, what is this? That is
Forbidden
Chalice on our good old
Unicorn
monster, and
also
therefore,
boosted by the Raid Soth.
yeah, that will be enough to actually get over this monster there.
Oh, and that is fantastic because in a skill drain scenario, the Chalice does not really matter to you anymore, so you're going for maximum damage here.
Well, maximum value. You get to destroy the Lady of the Lab.
That as well.
And now
One
that
last
is a
card.
really important card to draw for Giuseppe. Is it one that can turn this game around? It is one that has to be set to the back row. So, back over to Patrick there.
Is it the Mirror Force that he so desperately needs?
Let's
Keep in mind,
hope.
it can't be Storming Mirror Force because there's still preparations. So we are attacking.
For a second I thought we are playing around the Mirror Force there. But we are just declaring the attack.
Oh,
And there is
Dogmatica.
Dogmatica Punishment.
Punishment is really
But
good.
Is that enough?
that
I
could
don't think
only theoretically take care of 2 monsters, right?
Can't even, because you cannot target anything with Antis because the monsters have to be of lower attack than the monster you're sending to the graveyard. So Antis isn't the option here.
You can use
I
the
mean,
sneaky
exactly,
Tri-Brigade
yeah.
monster,
That's
which
the
when
way
it's
to
sent
go.
allows you to send another.
That is absolutely the way to go. We go with the Bucephalus 2.
I wasn't going to try and say his name.
Oh, but we do go for Garua. And are we trying to draw into our
Battle
lovely
Fader.
lady there?
Oh.
No!